my karaoke last night. Um, I'm heating up some soup right now. Plus, I only have about 50% charge, so I can't go for a very long time on this. But I'm trying to decide if I want to go over to my computer and show some clips and talk about this a bit further. Why did I title this the way that I did? Her hardcore supporters are so delusional, you guys, that oh, hold up. Let me turn the sound off. That they are doing everything to try and defend Chantel right now in her bullshit. So we know that she likes to screw with the timeline, right? Of what happens in her life. However, she left breadcrumbs again because she's not very bright. And let's talk about how these timelines could potentially work out. Oh, I left my cigarettes downstairs. Let's try and see if I still retain a connection, but I can go and get them. Okay, so first of all, the footage that she took, the 2 minutes of footage that she took on her vlog of going over to New York was time stamped because there was a road sign. Hi, Jess. Hi, makeup girl. Okay, give me a hot minute. If I have any distortion here, it's because I'm going to my car. Give me a hot minute. It's hard for me to do stairs. Okay, so the footage she took that was like B-log, or is that what they call it? B-log? It's when they're just shooting like stock footage that they can just use as like filler to lengthen their videos. Um, but hers was time stamped because there was a road sign on her way into America that talked about eclipse viewing traffic. April 8th, right? It was time stamped. Okay. So is she saying that she already felt ill before she went on her day trip into New York? And consider her day trip into New York was okay, her meltdown on YouTube was, I hope that this is where, oh shit, I locked my car and I didn't bring my keys. Okay. This is going to be more difficult than usual. Just got grounded for the summer. Oh, normal white guy. I'm sorry to hear that. That's going to suck. I guess you're going to be mowing lawns. All right. So she had her psychotic episode, according to her, right? Those were her words. And that she was high all the time. And that was somewhere near midnight East Coast time. Was it Sunday or was it Monday, guys? Well, I'm sorry to hear that, normal white guy. I'm sure you're going to be able to work that out. I think the meltdown happened on Sunday. It was the day before the eclipse because I did live stream about this and I talked to my audience base about how it didn't make sense. I'm going to have to sit down before I attempt this again. Okay, I locked my car last night. I guess this is, I'm more concerned about safety than I need to be, but it's in a locked garage. Whatever. Um, so it was around midnight. And I did a live stream the next morning and talked to my audience base about how it did not make sense that she would miss a monumental experience such as the eclipse. Because according to some of the live streams I've watched this morning, Cornwall was under the path of totality, as was Messina, which was the day tripping she took the day after. Hey, Danny, you caught me. It was the day after she lost her shit on her own audience, right? She had basically taken their money under false pretenses. It was a pretty bad scam. She had already not been doing content for 3 days. So if you assume that this ER visit took place on Monday, it still doesn't, the timeline still doesn't add up. Okay? So let's assume that after the blizzard, that she caught norovirus somehow. I mean, being that there was a blizzard, unless she got it from Natter, how's he doing these days, right? That doesn't make any sense. And she said that she was throwing up in the middle of the night, both ends, having a major stomach flu, basically. And this is a massive woman who is pounding water and other fluids throughout every live stream she does. So she was certainly well hydrated leading up to the situation. The people who generally get hospitalized for getting norovirus and having severe dehydration from it are people who are not drinking enough fluids in the first place, or they have they're very young, because young children dehydrate much faster, or they're elderly and they have some sort of conditions, or they have something going on. But she's pounding fluids constantly on all of her live streams. So she's obviously well hydrated. That is not her issue. And it's not going to be like that you just lose all your fluids and your wedding ring falls off in the shower. Plus, if these events had been happening leading up to Monday, why is she taking a day trip? Not only is that a huge thumb in the nose to her own fan base that just got hoodwinked to donate to her under the pretense that she was going to get an apartment in Canada and ended up not doing that. Looking for a napkin or something. Apparently, I do not have any. All right, fine. Um, okay, so, but on top of it, if she had gone down to Messina to eat at the Chinese buffet and then watch the eclipse. The eclipse happened in that area of the world somewhere around 4 to 4:30. 4 to 4:30. So, we're talking if the ER visit happened on the same day, then she would have pretty quickly been admitted to a New York facility and been stuck there, right? And there's all sorts of oddities about her video, such as it does not like, I know Life and Vibe, you're saying that it looks like a hospital gown to you. It doesn't to me. It looks like soft cotton. And if you're going to have an IV, they're going to make you put on a gown. You can't wear the clothes you came in with. It looks like a soft cotton blouse that she's wearing. And she probably had a cardigan over it initially. But she doesn't give us much more of her day trip travels because she makes the excuse that her phone died. My phone will die, so I can't do a very long stream right now. But being entered, first of all, she would have had to wait in the waiting room for a long time. She's talking about like, well, I was released in the middle of the night. Okay, that means your car was in the parking lot. You didn't have to make arrangements. They didn't just offer you a bus ticket, right? So the next possible scenario is that it happened on a different day. Because that would have been already, I mean, she's now seen the total eclipse of the sun, and so now she's fighting traffic to get out, right, of the viewing area. Then she has to go to the hospital for this timeline to work. If that is true, then she would have been in the waiting room for hours, because her vitals were normal. And so it would have taken a long time before they would have actually even given her an ER room. But secondly, you cannot, when you have an IV in your arm, hi, Rankin. Hi, Chelsea Ray. Yeah, but Chelsea, she fully covers her body because she's Muslim. So there's nothing that she could have been wearing that would have been suitable for inserting an IV unless they did it in her hand, right? So RN or not, I mean, just talk about the practicality of it. Sure, if I went into the ER and I'm wearing a tube top, you can hook me up. They would have had to take her top off, period. There's nothing that she could have possibly been wearing that they couldn't have put her in a gown to like examine her and stick in the IV. Why would they need an ultrasound of the forearm? I've not heard of that before. But anyway, it's just not practical. You can't have somebody who is trying to cover every inch of their body with clothing and then say, well, you can keep those clothes on while we insert an IV. Well, where's the IV going to go in if she's wearing that much clothing? So anyway, but let's talk about the timeline here for a second. If she went to go watch an eclipse viewing party, viewing area, yeah, so even, okay, sometimes if someone is obese, they need to go deeper into the tissue. And this is Chelsea Ray telling us that they might have needed to do an ultrasound. Even more reason she could not have had her own street clothes on at the time that she got an IV. But let's go further into this. So let's talk about this timeline. It is now probably 5 o'clock while the viewing areas are clearing out, and she's going to a hospital in New York, in Canada. Where is it? Right? Um, where's it happening? So, and she's discharged in the middle of the night. That's a pretty quick turnaround, Chelsea, wouldn't you agree? If she gets there, she's in the waiting room for, um, well, she was apparently for part of the footage, but she is unclear about where she's getting the medical care when she's supposedly in the hospital on an IV. And like I said, if you have an IV, you can't bend your arm, right? You cannot go on your side. I can't do a live stream like this if I have an IV in my arm. I can't. Simply can't. Now, let's say the IV was on this side. I'm now holding a phone for a long period of time with a distressed arm that has an IV in it. And where's my blood pressure cuff? Am I now lying down on my blood pressure cuff? Making sure that I'm not getting sincere readings about that. Okay, so I think we can rule out Monday night. It did not actually happen Monday night. Tuesday, I believe, was the day that Rose Thorne Reacts was tracking her followership because it was going up and down. She was buying subs, and the YouTube police were figuring it out. What? My computer rebooted again. I just want to get it started so I might be able to pull some clips up. The YouTube police were catching her and chopping off like 100 subs at a time. Like, these are bots, gone. These are bots, gone. So it's going up and down on Tuesday. So we're talking about somebody who's so sick with norovirus that they're throwing up, they have explosive diarrhea, and they're spending the entire day trying to buy subs to make up for whoever leaves their channel because of the recent scam she perpetrated. Trauma Queen 520. Remember, she also said she got 6 liquid fluids, 6L of fluid. I'm a medic of 18 years. There's no way in hell she has. I was I was watching that too, and I was like, you know, when I was hospitalized in November, they gave me a combination of a saline potassium drip, and I think I went through 2 bags of each overnight, like over an overnight period. Like it certainly wasn't what she's describing. If Chelsea says if she is in the ER, they will get you out for sure. But she mentioned, yeah, which seems inhuman. That's inhuman, and it also doesn't match her timeline. Look at her pupils. They're like saucers. They gave her IV pain medication or IV benzos. I don't even know if they did that much. Honestly, I think that the way she got in was her blood sugar reading. And I think that they were attempting to treat that. And I think we've got a grandiose story of something that didn't actually happen. Also, they held her because legally they cannot drive of 4 to 8 hours after receiving IV narcs. Well, that's assuming she actually got IV narcs. They're pretty careful about that. You know, I've seen a lot of other live streams kind of talk about not being released with really heavy pain medications, and I never have either. After my episode in November, they just gave me potassium supplements. I don't think I really needed pain medication anyway. But the last time I remember actually getting, leaving the hospital with like morphine was after I had an appendectomy, you know? And I barely took any of it because I hate the idea of trying to get like pain addicted like that. Chelsea Ray, that's if they did bullets of 6 bags, which doesn't happen. If they had to do 6 bags, they would have admitted her, and they didn't. Who's that guy standing behind you? Nobody's standing behind me. What are you talking about? She definitely lied about the fluid. Yeah, I agree. She is so sick, and she is definitely contagious, yet she's going to meet with people. She's a liar who lies, that lies more. Leaders. Okay, thanks, Chelsea. Also, I was trying to see what other medications were giving her through her IV. That's that IV pool. We don't know if antibiotics, blood thinners, I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I have no idea what was actually going on there. All I can tell you is she was lying. All I can tell you is she was lying. And, you know, for somebody who repeatedly uses my story of potassium deficiency um, to lie about her own story of blood sugar problems. It's pretty sick. If she is low in sodium, she would be low in potassium. And they put you in cardiac monitoring. Her story doesn't add up. I know she didn't have any of the monitors. Like, I mean, when they had me, they did several EKGs on me, and they had me hooked up to bullshit all night long, and I had it all like wires all over me, and they were constantly checking my heart. So I agree with you there. The fact that we saw nothing except for what she filmed as like a pile of IV bags. What does that mean to me? Pile of IV bags. Give me a break. See if I can figure this out. This always takes a while for my. It was very strange. Okay, so basically, the only possibility here, based on what she's saying, which is that she was sick leading up to this happening, is that it happened on Wednesday. Because she couldn't have been that sick on Sunday while she was throwing her fit on her channel about, I'm sorry if you don't like my life choices, blah, blah, blah. And I'm having a psychiatric breakdown, blah, blah, blah. And you all just hate me because I'm fat, blah, 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 right? Um, that was Sunday. She wouldn't have been doing that if she had her butt on a toilet and her face in a wastebasket. You know? She wouldn't have stopped tending to her immediate feelings if that was going on, right? So we know she did not have norovirus on Sunday, meaning that she did not have it on Saturday or Friday either. The other 2 days that she did not show up online. We do not, we know that she did not have it on Tuesday because the Rose Thorn Productions or Reacts or whatever it is was tracking her sub count, and it was very clear that she was buying subs. It was going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. She knew she was going to have fallout from what she did on Sunday night, and she was trying to head that off by buying subs. So the only possible day would have been Wednesday. The timeline still does not work out because she said she was feeling off for 2 to 3 days. Well, if you're already feeling off, you were already starting to throw up and have explosive diarrhea and all that, then that would have affected your activities on Monday and Tuesday. But apparently it didn't, because you went down to have a day trip into America, have some Chinese buffet, do a little eclipse watching, and then the next day you're buying subs all day. You got that going on all day. And then by Wednesday, you are admitting yourself, not really, because you didn't get admitted. So she is now in the ER on what is potentially a drug run. And the only way that they would have kept her there for observation was because of her blood sugar reading. Because she couldn't even tell you what her she couldn't even tell you what her electrolyte numbers were. She said, "It's something to do with my electrolyte numbers." Well, what to do with them? Where did you land? Because I actually have that problem. And, there's a lot of other channels where it seems to be that she gets our stories and tries to recreate them and does it terribly, right? So she says she was feeling faint, but she drove herself to this one too. My doctors have told me that if I feel faint again to call 911. So I'm not sure why is she afraid she won't fit on the gurney? Is she afraid she won't fit on the gurney? Or does she know her family is not going to participate in this nonsense? And therefore she needs to get it done on her own with her car available to her at the end of it. Because you have to be able to get back home. You have to be able to get back home at the end of it. Otherwise, they're just going to give you a bus ticket. So the timeline doesn't work out in any scenario possible, especially if you're looking at a 2 to 3 day buffer, as she says, was needed. Before it got so severe that she went to the ER, right? She was on the pot with a wastebasket in her face, coming out both ends, right? But in the meantime, she took a day trip to the US and so hard to do stairs, you guys. She took a day trip to the US and she spent a day trying to keep her channel numbers up by buying sex. This is all allegedly. This is my speculation. This is my opinion. Her timeline does not work in any possible scenario. She could not have had 2 days leading up to this ER visit with debilitating stomach flu. Quite frankly, that could not have happened. Okay. This time I do have my keys. I guess I was being extra safe last night when I pulled in. So what do you guys think about this? I do not think that Life and Vibe is correct. I don't think she had on a medical gown. I think she had on a blouse. I don't think she ever left the ER area. And if they did put an IV on her, they would have made her get into a gown. Because there's no way you can walk into an ER with that much clothes on and they be able to actually examine you, like perform an examination. I gotta drag my leg up. I'm almost there. Okay, I'm getting closer to the top, you guys. I'm getting closer. But yeah, I think she went down to see the eclipse because her obnoxious posts on Sunday didn't make sense either. It would not make sense that she would miss such a historical occasion just because she's impulsive, as she likes to say. Right? She's impulsive. Gotta take a breather after doing all that exercise. That's a lot for me, you guys. I mean, you saw me in the karaoke videos. I don't have to walk that far to do that. I really don't have to walk that far to do that sort of stuff. But doing stairs is very challenging for me. Okay. Let's see what I got here. So I got some results recently. I don't know if I can access them from this device. Let's see. I think I might only have access from my phone, but let me see. This was my last blood draw, I think. As somebody who actually has a potassium deficiency. How do I flip it? My sodium was just in normal. My chloride is way off. My potassium is still too low. And for some reason, my oxygen is very high. I don't know the answer to that. My, that's just the blood draw stuff, but at the doctor's appointment, oh no, it was the nurse's visit. They noted that my blood pulse was up. I was at like 111 or something. But I had just walked kind of far in the building and had a cigarette before I came in and stuff, so I'm not totally surprised by that. But my blood pressure was still kind of low, a lot low. It was just barely reading within normal limits. It's like 98 over something. That one's in the car. But, unlike Chantel, I'm going to take my potassium supplements and actually fix my problem and not lie about what it is and make it into something that it isn't. There's no way she was sick over the course of that timeline, not given her actions, right? That's just not possible. She couldn't have engaged in all of those activities over Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday while having nausea and explosive diarrhea. Not possible. So she can't excuse her Sunday night rage on having norovirus. I'm sorry, that's not possible. Your ring did not fucking fall off your hand. Nobody believes that. I lost 12 pounds since January. Sure, did some of my weight, my waistlines on my jeans and stuff get a bit loose. My fleece, I had to tie the drawstring a little bit tighter. Sure. Does jewelry fall off my fingers? No. I don't think she's so full of shit, you guys. She's so full of shit. Jewelry is not falling off my fingers with 12 pounds of weight loss. And you know what? That's far more significant on somebody my size than it is of somebody of her size. Like, she's acting like she lost like 20 to 30 fucking pounds overnight. Like, it's impossible. What she's saying is impossible. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. I already talked about I don't believe that was a medical gown. Such a dainty creature. Hi, Jenna. Hi, Clara. She's such a dainty creature that all she needs is a couple nights of throwing up and her ring falls off her hand. But as I said, her timeline it makes it impossible for her to have been that sick during the activities that she was engaged in. She went day tripping on Monday. She was raging on Sunday night. And Tuesday she was buying Sebs. It's not possible, you guys. Her timeline does not add up. And also, if you have an IV in your arm, you don't lie on your side. Because if that would fucking hurt, you guys. Really fucking hurt to poke that IV deeper into your vein. And they're not going to put the blood pressure cuff on the same arm. So my guess is she did not have an IV. She had a blood pressure cuff. But they weren't even monitoring her heart. There were no cables. No cables coming out because they put those little adhesive pads all over you to monitor your heart while you're in there for observation. She was there for her blood sugar, you guys. She was there for a drug run. She was there for her blood sugar, but she loves to over dramatize things. She loves to steal other people's health stories. And it's just bullshit. I don't know how her fans. Oh, and by the way, like I said, title of the video, her fans are trolling all the React channels right now, trying to just like distract, add commentary that doesn't make sense. A lot of them are claiming that they're RNs, and I'm sorry, how do I know that you really are? How do I know that you really are? I've had several medical trips. I've had a C-section. I've had an appendectomy. I've had other surgeries. I've had, the potassium drip for a night long. I have yet to be put in a comfortable, fitting hospital gown. Never seen anything like that before. They kind of feel like papery cloth, and they still have the folds on them from whatever package they were just torn out of. But there's a ton of people out there right now trying to distract away from any questions about this particular story. And I'm telling you, it does not add up. When was she throwing up all night? What night did that happen, Chantel? That it was before you went to the ER and you were discharged so late, which it's not discharged when you're in the ER and you never get admitted. You're just let go. That it was like the middle of the night. First of all, the ER would do that because it's just the ER. And you showed up in your own car, right? If not, they're going to give you a bus ticket and it's not going to be pleasant. But if you actually get admitted, they admit you during daytime hours. It's either going to be like noon or 5. She wasn't admitted at all. So this was not serious. And it was more than likely some shots of insulin and an attempt at a drug run for like some painkillers. 2 cents. Anyway, I've got some soup on the stove that I need to get to. So I hope you all have a great day. And let's see how she challenges the React channels today. Because you know she will. Why don't you go to a karaoke bar, Chantal? I struggle with walking. I still push myself to do it. Take care, everybody.